So lately, I've received a number of compliments in the comments about my improvement in my footwork, and even I've received compliments in real life. And my reaction to that is, finally, people are noticing all the hard work I've been putting in, because I've really been working on my footwork lately. And as a result, I believe that it's contributed to my grades going up. I've went from 7A to 7B in a matter of, I don't know, a couple of months. I really attribute part of my improvement in my climbing to the work I've put in to my footwork. So in this video, I'm going to go over what the problem was and how I dealt with it and how it's helped me with my climbing. Oh! Oh!
So good.
There were two main issues with my footwork that were really holding me back. And to an extent, they're still there, but they are so much better than they were before, and I can feel it when I'm climbing. Issue one really was a trust issue. So I put my foot on a hold and I just wouldn't feel like I could trust it. And I would kind of do this a little bit. And either I couldn't commit to the move, or if it moved a little bit, I would just feel really uncomfortable and I just wouldn't be able to do that move. And I just wouldn't do it. And sometimes the foot would also just slip as well. So mostly it was like a trust problem. I just could not actually commit to moves because of my footwork. Another problem I had was on steep stuff. This is a slab, but on steep stuff, my feet would just come off from the wall and I would cut loose and be hanging like that. And I just couldn't get them to stick to the wall. And I didn't understand how strong climbers were able to just stick where I was coming off. That also seems to have been addressed in some way, or at least I know what I was doing wrong. So let's talk about the trust problem first. So I think the worst advice that is ubiquitous in climbing is trust your feet. Just strong climbers simply saying, just trust your feet, man. Because I just think that is a total garbage thing to say, because your feet are deceitful, treacherous little bastards. You can't trust them. You can't just trust that something's going to stick. You can only trust it if you know that you've placed it properly. Where before, strong climbers would say, just trust your feet, and I would just go for it, even though it felt shit. My foot would always just pop. And I was wondering, why is my foot slipping where their foot's not slipping? And it's not a case of just committing to crappy footholds. I just don't think that works at all. It's that they actually have placed their foot in a better position than you. So I don't think it's a case of just trusting your feet. I think it's a case of actually placing your feet and trusting your placement, if that makes sense. So the question is, why do I feel like I can't trust my foot placement where stronger climbers can? That is the question. And it's actually quite a difficult question to answer, but luckily for me, uniquely to me, is I have hundreds of hours of footage of me climbing, and I could see the problem in 4K definition. So let me replicate the issue, right? This is something that I used to do all the time. And it was this. See that sort of jumping about of the foot? And if you actually watch what I did there, I go to put my foot on, and just as it hovers over, I look away. It's kind of on, but I can't see it. So I jump it about a bit. I don't look again. And now I feel shit about that foot placement because I haven't actually looked at whether it's on or not. And it was as simple as that. I actually watched footage of me doing hundreds and hundreds of shitty foot placements and jumping my foot around like that. And I realised that it's because I actually just fractionally, just as my foot was about to touch the hold, I just looked away and then was concentrating on my hands. And it causes me to not actually see where the foot goes and to sort of jumble it about a bit, jump it about. until I find something solid. And now I feel horrible going on to this. I actually can't even do it. Look at me doing it again, because I haven't looked. This week's sponsor is Rung, who have been supporting the show for a long time now. And if you've seen any of the videos in the past, you'll know that I basically live in Rung trousers or pants. My all-time favourites are the high baller pants, the straight leg cotton pants that I basically wear throughout all the colder months. So they're a little bit heavier than what I'm wearing now, so I can wear them in the cooler weather, but they've got a stretchy fabric to them so I can boulder and climb in them just fine. With the warmer weather coming in, I've switched to the harness utility pants, the ones with all the pockets. These are extremely lightweight and super stretchy. If you prefer an elasticated bottom around the ankle, then the wide leg harness pants is what you want. I wear those when I'm going through some bushwhacking territory because, well, in Scotland anyway, that elasticated section around your ankle keeps the ticks away. That's because the ticks are a problem. The thing about the Rung line of pants is they are climbing trousers, but they look smart as well, so you can wear them out in normal life. Right now, Rung have an offer on all pants. You can get free shipping on any set of pants that you order, and that offer extends till the 19th of June. Additionally, if you use my code MikeBoyd at checkout, then you get another 10% off your entire order. Obviously, if you're visiting Rung to get a pair of pants, check out the famed Super Dry Chalk. That's my chalk of choice in humid conditions. And then check out any other apparel that you might fancy as well. Thanks very much to Rung for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to the video. But what I'm actually doing there is trying to feel my way into a foot placement that I can trust, rather than actually looking. And I realised that actually, you don't actually need to see where you put your hands, because your hands are so sensitive that you can feel whether the hold's not, and whether the hold's good or not, and you just know for a fact when you're slipping and when you're not. Feet are not like that. There's a layer of rubber between your foot and the hold, so you kinda can't really actually feel exactly what you need to do. You need to look, and that's what I wasn't doing. I watched videos, and as my foot was going on just about there, I would look away, and that just allowed a little sort of decrease in precision. Even now I'm doing it, just trying to find something good. Whereas if I just look there, that's good, and I know it's there. So how did I fix that problem? Well, it's really, really simple. I just did like drills with over the top looking at where my feet are going, to the point where it felt absolutely ridiculous. So even this massive thing here, right? I actually just looked exactly where I want to go. And what I would sometimes do is, where's my chalk bag? What I would sometimes do is put a tiny piece of chalk exactly on the hold where I'd actually want my foot to go. And I would try to get my foot exactly on there, and I would not take my eyes off the hold until my toe is on the hold. And it's actually harder than you think to do that. What I did before was I would just look and then move. And it's just, we're talking like inches here, but inches in climbing is massive. So now I really try to look at my toe right until it's actually on. Then I can move. And it's really a lot harder than you think to actually do that. I found that if I started doing that for like 2 sessions, and we're only talking half an hour per session, when I went back onto the rock, I immediately noticed my footwork was way more precise. And I was doing it, I was looking, watching my foot weight the hold, and then moving my eyes off and concentrating on the rest of the climb. And it made a massive difference. Obviously, as footholds get smaller and smaller, and as you go outdoors, there's actually places on the foothold that are better than others. And I realised that my actual precision was really bad. So if I was actually aiming to put my toe right there, I realised that I actually wasn't precise enough to actually do it. So my foot would end up like there, which is just off, or there. And actually I had to work on the precision to get it exactly where I wanted it. It was like, my precision was maybe like 1 inch, plus or minus 1 inch, but that is just simply not good enough. It needs to be plus or minus 1 millimeter. We're using multiple units here just to piss everyone off. But within 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions doing this in my warm-up, I noticed my feet started going exactly where I wanted them. And it just makes such a difference to your climbing. When you can place your feet precisely, you just feel so much better about putting weight on something like that, which is actually pretty big if you can place your foot precisely. I think the worst piece of advice in climbing is trust your feet. Don't trust your feet, trust your foot placement. It's your brain that does the foot placement. And when I started doing that, and rather than just trusting where it was, things really started to move forwards for me. That's step one. The next place I felt like my footwork was really lagging behind was on steep stuff. And the problem was really simple. I think a lot of people have this problem, not just me. But it's just simply foot popping off and cutting loose. And I was like, why is that happening to me? Why can I hang on these holds with my hands, but my feet just will not stick on? And it resulted in me just doing a lot of like moves like that, campusing and then coming back on and just doing a lot of shitty stuff. So I was determined to figure out what was going on. The only way I was really able to fix that was just by doing lots and lots of steep climbing, which didn't allow for that foot pop. And I eventually started figuring out that you can hook your toe in and actually use your hamstring and pull up, which is like probably really basic stuff for most of you guys. But for me, it was a bit of a revelation. It wasn't really a learning thing. It was more of an actual training thing, like training to engage your core, point your toes downwards and really get your hips in. And the moon board really, really helped with that, because if you can't do that on the moon board, you're just campusing, and campusing on the moon board is too hard. Doing one session on the moon board every week, I could just feel when I started climbing and started going on, I was putting my toes into little crevices. I mean, this is quite big, but I was really pulling on, and I could really hang with downturn shoes and use my hamstrings and my core to actually stay on the wall. And the more I did it, the stronger I felt that core got, and those hamstring muscles, and that muscle memory of actually hooking in smaller holds. I mean, this hold here is pretty small, this purple one. But like I found that even on purple holds, even on these holds, I could still actually learn to do it pretty effectively. And on steep stuff, it's so nice to be able to keep your feet on and push through your feet just with a little bit of core strength, tiny little bit of like hamstring pulling power, and your feet going in the right direction. And really, steep climbing, steep board climbing, moonboard style climbing, it's just so helpful for doing that. What I was doing was, when it was slightly easier, like this orange, was just really concentrating on not cutting loose, because I could just climb this, you know, like that if I wanted. But eventually, you just can't cut loose like that on every move. You actually have to keep your feet on. So I started working on the easier stuff, trying to really push through my feet and engage that hamstring, my core, to stay on, get my hips close to the wall. And after a while, I just started using techniques like that more and more often. So I know these two things that I've talked about in this video, which is basically precise foot placement and try not to cut loose on steep stuff. They sound really, really basic, but these are two things that I really never had in my arsenal of climbing tools from the beginning. I was your typical gym bro who came to the gym and got through like the easy grades just by having back and bicep strength and being able to pull up big holds. But as things got more difficult, my feet were sort of left behind, and it's really been a bottleneck for me in my climbing. So I feel like I've really sort of opened up a whole new aspect of my climbing just by doing really basic stuff, which is spending time watching where I put my foot on the foothold and trying to stop that shuffle thing I do, the little jumpy shuffle. And then by spending a lot of time on the moonboard or on steep stuff and really trying to create tension and hook my feet in and stop from cutting loose. Those two really simple things, I feel, have completely changed my climbing. And the first one, at least, which is just warming up and being precise with your feet and looking where your feet go, is really simple to do. Obviously, the steep climbing is like, you actually need to do steep climbing and work on your strength. But it's made a huge difference for me. I know a lot of people won't have these problems, but I also see a lot of people at the gym who share the same problems as me, which is shuffly, crappy, imprecise feet that cut loose all the time. That's what I had. Still have to an extent, but I'm on my way to fixing it. I hope this video was somewhat helpful to people who have these issues. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next week. Peace.